2017. We're at the West Oaks Library interviewing Mary Jocoy. Mary, thank you for coming here today. Can I ask you how long you've lived in Central Florida?
I've lived in Central Florida pretty much, except for college, being out of town for college and a few things like that, since June of '55.
Okay. You were born here?
No, my dad was, but I was born in Washington State.
Okay. But you grew up here?
Well, from about 12 years old, 11, 12, yeah.
And what was life like at that time? What are your earliest memories of the area?
Of the area? Well, the school system thing was different. There were, I don't know, maybe it's because there is not as many things now, I mean, then as there are now for kids, like to go to the movies or whatever. We had to go to the beach, go right into the beach in Orlando, or get somebody to take us over to Winter Garden on Saturday afternoons to go to black and white movies, whatever. But they just, the schools did things like we would have baseball games, and it would be the parents against the kids or something like that, in the summer. And then they'd have summer programs at the high school for kids. And they played table tennis and things like that, just different things like that. It just easier going type of, more relaxed type of thing.
It was quiet.
Yeah, a little bit more so, yes.
Can you tell me what your family was like?
I grew up in a family of 4 children. I'm the oldest of the 4. I have a sister that's 2 years younger than me, and then we have a brother, 2 brothers. One born in 48, the other born in 53. So my mom had them 10-year period. She had 4 kids. So we moved back here after my dad got out of law school. Now he says, you're not sure, or he was saying, maybe I should have gone back over to Tampa, because that's where he graduated from high school, in Tampa. He went through 6th grade here, and then his mom and dad moved over there because the railroad transferred my grandfather over there. And so.
But your grandfather had lived here?
Yeah, my grandfather lived here in Ocoee.
Working for the railroad?
Well, at 21. His mother wouldn't let him work for the railroad. So all railroad men had women in every port type thing, like sailors used to or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, well, she was right. Apparently they did. Anyway, she decided she's going to go with her husband instead of staying in Ocoee or whatever. So she went to Ocoee. Yeah, she went to Tampa. And that was probably good for my dad, because he was in Hillsborough High School, which was one of the largest high schools in the state of Florida at that time, and it possibly still is. But they had football scouts and all from colleges and things like that. So they may not have gotten to Ocoee if he had been here. But they got over to Tampa.
So he was a football player?
Played center. And he went, and they told him he could try out Mississippi State if he made the first 22 freshmen on the team. They'd give him a place to live and, feed him. He said he didn't think he belonged if he couldn't make the first 22, so he did. He ended up, he's part of their glory days.
And what's his name?
Oh, well, his nickname was Gator. His name was Julius Benjamin Griffin. He was named for both grandfathers, but his coach apparently couldn't remember his name, so he called him Gator. He knew he was from Florida, so he called him Gator. So, so that was his nickname. And he got to play in the Orange Bowl, 1941, January 1st, 1941. They beat Georgetown. We had one TV at the house when we were growing up, and if my dad wanted to watch football, or he was there and not studying or something like that, we watched football. So my sister and I learned, and mom too, learned something about football.
And your father was a lawyer?
Yes. And a pilot, Marine pilot.
And so during that time, did it feel like everyone knew everyone here in town?
Yes, in everyone's business, yes.
And all the good and the bad?
The good and the bad, yeah. Because now my dad's office is no longer there. It was on the corner across from Betty J's Floors, where Betty J's Floors is now, which used to be Pound's Pharmacy once upon a time years ago. Anyway, his office was across the street from there, and that had belonged to Dr. Scott years ago. And my dad told he was playing, kind of a trick, joke type thing on these ladies. Told these older ladies, and there were a few, it must have been about his age, I guess, that he found a loose brick in the fireplace, and there was Dr. Scott had put some notes and things like that, papers, under the brick.
Oh my.
Kind of shook him up a little bit, I think. I don't know what they were worried about, but he...
Don't want their secrets getting out.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, like... who had another family in Jacksonville, or who had whatever, that type of thing. They did. They had complete families. Yeah. I mean, you don't get away with that nowadays. But it's because I think the way the records are now. I mean, and driver's license, everybody has to have a driver's, or some kind of an ID and everything like that. Whereas years ago, not everybody drove, so lots of people didn't have IDs and things like that. So